Now on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com. Joining us now from Jacksonville High School, the new athletic director and head football coach of the Indians, it is Coach Chris Tabor. How you doing, Coach?
Doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you. Congratulations, first of all, on taking the job, and then tell me a little bit about what you have had to face in terms of bringing in a new direction for the Jacksonville Fighting Indians.
Well, first of all, thank you. The new direction here is just trying to get the kids headed in the right direction and the work ethic that we're trying to instill in our football team.
Now, I know you used to coach at Jacksonville, I'm assuming under Danny Long, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so how much have things changed since you were there back in 01 and 02?
The kids haven't. We still have the same type of kids. We've got, great kids that are great students. We're just trying to get the mental aspect back to where it was when Danny Long was here.
And talk about that mental aspect. What is it you're trying to achieve there? And describe what you're talking about.
Well, the game of football, physically, everybody has athletes. Everybody has good old linemen. What we're trying to get is to cut down on the mistakes and cut down on the mental issues that go into a football game that kind of put you in binds and put you in trouble. And just the mental toughness of it, not getting down on ourselves when something goes wrong or being able to play at a tempo that we can push our body past the limits and get out of our comfort zone. So that's the biggest thing we're fighting right now.
Now, talk a little bit about the preparation that you've had for becoming a head football coach, coaching at Nacogdoches High and at New Braunfels, and then with an extremely successful Chapel Hill program. How did that mold you into what you are now as a coach?
Well, first of all, I've worked under, three unbelievable athletic directors. So I've kind of taken what they've done and kind of pieced it together how I wanted to do it, and fortunately I've been very successful at the places I've been because we've had great kids and great leaders and been on some great coaching staff. So I'm just trying to take the things I've learned over the last 12 years and mold them into something I believe in and get this thing just to be as successful as I've been a part of with other athletic directors.
And your most recent run, obviously, was with the Chapel Hill team that won the state championship last year. So how much of what Chapel Hill does are you going to bring to Jacksonville now?
We'll look the same. My philosophy is my philosophy. I've worked on our offense for about 8 years to get it to where I want it. And we had the same type of kids here that we had at Chapel Hill. So we're going to install the same type of offense. Defensively, we'll look a little bit different. We're an odd front defense now. We were an even over at Chapel Hill, but, my defensive coordinator, Mike Waldy, who I brought in, has done it for 17 years, and he's very good at it. So right now it's just the learning, that the kids are going through, trying to, the process of getting it right.
One of the things in my years of covering Jacksonville, and I did Jacksonville football for about 7 years under when Coach Randy Copeland was there and also when Steve Wells was there. But one of the things that Jacksonville never had a shortage of was speed. It was size on the lines that was a little bit more of a challenge. How is that this year?
We're a little bit bigger up front. The skill position, like you said, they're all back from last year's team, so we're very blessed in that aspect. But O-line, that's, they're the furthest behind just because a lot of the stuff we do is a lot different than what they did in the past. So the skill kids are accelerating, the learning process. The O-line are coming along, and it's just we're waiting for that light bulb to go off on all of them, and then we'll start having a lot of fun.
All right, so tell me a little bit about some of the guys that we need to be watching on the Jacksonville Indians this year.
Well, obviously we got, an all-district receiver coming back in Daryl Menifee, but he's surrounded by about 4 or 5 more with D.D. Franklin and Londedrick Taylor and Kadarius Buckingham and Chris Cross and Tony Lane. So we got a bunch of the offensive kids back. Defensively, everybody's going to know where Bryson Haywood is, our Mike linebacker. He's a 20-tackle-a-game guy. He's very, very smart with football sense. And then you got Shaquille Mosley and Londedrick and all those guys that are playing defense too. So, we're really excited about the kids that we have because they are hardworking kids, but, most importantly, they're great kids.
Talk, too, about your quarterback situation. I know Andrew Black transferred over to your former school over there in Chapel Hill. Who have you got that's going to be pulling the trigger for you this year?
Well, right now we got 2 guys working. Trevor Ewald, who's a senior, he's going to play quarterback and a little bit of linebacker for us. And then we have a sophomore coming up, Carter McCown, that is also sharing reps right now. So they'll continue to split reps until one really kind of separates himself as we get closer to district.
You got a McCown kid?
We got another McCown coming, yes, sir.
Is this a son of one of the former quarterbacks, or is this a brother?
It's a cousin.
A cousin.
It's a cousin.
Okay, same kind of bloodlines, though?
Yes, sir.
so you're going to be throwing it all over the field here in another year or two, then, I guess.
Well, we'll see.
How do any of these guys compare to the quarterback you had at Chapel Hill and Avery Signs the last 2 years?
You know, unfortunately, Trevor's only going to be in the program 1 year, but the McCown kid has the ability to be as good as Signs. Just Signs was a 3-year guy with me and learned the offense, and in our offense, it comes down to timing, and that's the biggest thing. It's knowing when to throw the ball, when the routes are supposed to be broken off, and both of them are progressing to that right now. But you know, you should see the McCown kid in the next couple of years start to really develop, just because after he learns the offense and the timing of it, he'll have a lot more success. It'll be a little rough right off the get-go, but I see him having a pretty good career.
Now, has Thomas Sitton given you any grief about bailing on him when the Chapel Hill moved into the District of Doom?
No, Coach Sitton and I go back a long way, and we're best friends. And you know, he knew with me and Coach Holman, who's the defensive coordinator over there, that we both have goals of being a head coach, and he was probably the most supportive person I've ever been around that really helped me, you know, achieve what I'm trying to achieve here. So he misses me, and I miss him, and I miss those kids, but you know, we move on and we chase our own dreams.
And again, you know, you don't have to deal with the District of Doom, but the district that you've gotten into in 4A looks like it could be about that nasty, though, when you start throwing guys like John Tyler and Corsicana and White House and some of those out there, Lindale.
Oh, you know, we talk about it all the time with the kids. You know, you hear the District of Doom all the time in 3A, but I'm going to tell you what, we're in one of the toughest districts in the state of Texas ourselves. So we welcome the challenge. You know, we're excited about it. I mean, we want to play the best football that we can possibly play, and we couldn't pick a better schedule to do that with.
And I got to tell you, and you know it as well as anybody, there is no place like the Tomato Bowl on a Friday night.
You know, I've coached in a lot of stadiums. The last 2 years in the state championship coaching at Cowboy Stadium, and you're exactly right. When you talk about tradition and just the excitement and the electricity in the air in the Tomato Bowl, there's not a lot of places in the world that have that feeling when you walk on the football field. So our kids and myself included are very fortunate to be able to coach and play in a place like the Tomato Bowl.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck with the Jacksonville Fighting Indians. I learned early on it's got to be fighting. Don't say fighting.
That's right.
Because they'll rip you apart when you say that over there. But we wish you great luck, and we're looking forward to seeing your team this year.
I sure appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. That's Chris Tabor, the new head football coach at Jacksonville Fighting Indians, on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM.